In this video, I'm going to show you two properties that will always lose you money. These properties that I'm about to show you, these two properties may deceive you. You may think that there's going to be a lot of cash flow, there's going to be passive income, there's going to be tons of upside. I can promise you it's not the case. As a matter of fact, I've seen so many real estate investors lose money on deals just like the ones I'm about to show you. So let's dig in. I'm going to show you what they look like. All right, so the first one I'm going to go to is right here. I'm a part of wholesale groups or real estate groups on Facebook, and I'm always looking for a house. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of showing you some of the things that are out there. But this one kind of stuck out to me because I was like, oh, this is an interesting house. But only interesting in the fact that if I were your consultant, I would tell you never buy this house. Let's look at this property right here. It has a brick facade, I guess, on the front and looks like a pretty decent roof. You can see the picture on the back. I'm just going to blow this up. I mean, this is, I can already tell it's one of these old houses in this area. And then the back of it is rough. I mean, rotten wood, peeling paint, windows, horrible windows. So when you start just like mentally going through your mind what all is going to happen to this property, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, this is going to take a ton of work. And so what's interesting is they're only asking $18,000. And this is what attracts a lot of people to these types of deals. It's like, it's only $18,000. Now, they also have on here, to their credit, they have estimated rehab, $80,000. That's estimated rehab. $80,000. I mean, usually it's never less than that. You're usually not spending less money than that. You're usually spending more money. And then this is the kicker. The ARV is 148. Okay. Now, this is where we have to time out. This is where you, as an investor, have to do your due diligence on two things. Number one, what is the true repair estimate of this property? What if it's closer to 100 or 110? And the other type of homework you have to do is, who are you going to sell this for at $148,000? If they're saying the after repair value on the retail market is this, but I can tell you this area is not really a retail area. This is mainly a rental area. And so what happens is, you get investors who are thinking, oh, well, look at all this equity I have in the house. If I need to unload it, I can. And that's not the case. A lot of times you can't unload it because the house is not going to sell to a person, especially in the market that we're in now, high interest rates, a little bit tighter on the requirements to get a loan probably. And so, it's going to be a lot harder for somebody to apply and be approved for this type of house. So maybe you have to do owner financing, or maybe you just have to hold on to it as a rental. And I'll just tell you, this house right here, you're going to struggle with owning it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and show you, I'm going to pull it up on Zillow, and let's just look at some other things about this house that might cause me to back out. So Zillow says the house is worth $42,000. The person who put this on Facebook didn't give the address, but I hunted this property down, found it, and it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,600 square feet. It's 90 years old. This is a 90-year-old house. You don't know what's going to have to happen in here. If there's electrical issues, if there's plumbing issues, there could be all types of things that send your budget skyrocketing. I just think for a house that's 90 years old, I don't even want to touch it. Honestly, I don't want to touch it. They're estimating rent at $1,000. I would never go off the Zestimate. I would always determine, like, what can I really get for rent? What are other investors getting for rent in that area? And it's just going to vary. So those are really the biggest things that I'm looking at. I mean, this person has tried to sell this property for $30,000, for $20,000, and now you have a wholesaler that's put it under contract and is trying to sell it for $18,000. So the person who owns this is really just trying to get rid of it. And this is the key. If you were to buy this house and you were putting a lot into it, and eventually you were ready to sell this property, guess what? You're going to sell it to an investor. 90% of the time, you're going to sell it to an investor. And that means that they're not going to pay you retail for this house. They don't care what you have in the house. They don't care if you have $120,000 in the house. All they care about is what number makes sense for them. And local investors, most definitely, if they have any kind of experience to them, they're going to look at this and go, "That's not a house I want to own for that much money." I know a lot of local investors here in town, and I can tell you they just wouldn't touch it. So this is the first big mistake. This is the type of house that will always lose you money. I've not ever seen these things work out well. The only people it works out well for are the wholesalers that put it under contract and sell it to an inexperienced real estate investor who doesn't know what they're doing. And now the problem for us, we're property management company. We manage a ton of houses in these areas. We, over 1,000 houses in the city. But this is going to be a problem for us. Like this house is going to be a problem for us. And so what happens is you have certain expectations, but the reality is down here. And then there's this like, who's going to fill in the gap? Well, the property manager's got to explain to you the reality when you have these high expectations, and it tends to be a problem for both the property manager and the owner. But again, the wholesaler who sold it, they did really well. So that's the first house. This is the first type of house that will always lose you money. All right, now I'm going to go to a different one that I think, like, the house looks good. The house looks pretty decent. It's not a bad house. Let's look at some of these pictures. I'm going to pull up some of these pictures. It's okay on the front. Looks like they've painted it white, I guess. So, but I already know this is an old house. I just know these types of houses. This is an old house. Doesn't look all that bad inside. I mean, man, you can see these door jambs. They have been beat up. They have been beat to death, but they've been painted over. You've got, I guess that's a closet there, some bedrooms, even has a fireplace in the bedroom. Of course, the fireplace is boarded up because you don't want that liability. Pretty decent room. It looks like somebody's treated this property okay, right? Somebody who's lived here has treated this property okay. And so I would say this isn't a bad property per se. However, I would most definitely pass on this one. This house is going to lose you money. And first of all, you have to realize, let me go back here. You just have to realize that this house, even though it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, they're asking $94,000. You could probably find comps around the area. The challenge with finding comps is things change just from block to block. And so you could go a realtor can pull a comp 3 blocks away that is a great area. A property sold to an end user for $160,000, and they could say, hey, look, this property may be worth $160,000. It's not. The house was built in 1920. It's 105 years old. You are going to have so many problems with this property. And not only that, so that's my go-to usually always is I want to see how old the house is because I know they come with inherent problems when they're old. But I want to look at the area. And so if I dial out of here, here's the house right here. I'm going to blow this up. Here's the house. It's sandwiched in between Alabama Avenue and Fulton Avenue. Now, this is in an area that's called West End. I was just down there the other day. Jacob and I were driving around looking at houses, looking at a package of houses that I bought back in the day, and I bought them. They were all in this West End area. And, I'm an experienced investor, but I still consider it a mistake. Like, I shouldn't have bought this 10-house package. But what people will say is, but hey, you have this hospital that's right there. Like, you have a hospital that's close by, Princeton Hospital. This should be a good area, up and coming area. It's not an up and coming area. These areas tend to deteriorate. They don't usually come back in these areas. Now, this is a D class area. So if you're thinking about class of area, you have A class is the best, B class, which is high middle income. And then you have C class, which is great working class areas. And you have D, which higher crime areas. And then you have F, which are what we would may consider war zones. But if I go to this house, I just know that I'm going to pull up the street view. And I just know that this is going to be a problem, even though, like, this street view was probably taken many years ago. And because there's your house, it's not the same color. It's been painted. It actually looks better here. So this was probably many years ago. If I'm looking at the street scene, again, it doesn't really look horrible. However, these things can go downhill fast. And so if you're just relying on Google, like I would go out to this road, I would drive this road and look at it. Are there any vacant houses around? Are there any burned down houses? That happens quite a bit. Because if there are, then no great resident is going to want to buy this house and stay here. And so I would just be very, very careful about just kind of going off of what you see on Zillow, what somebody sends you and tells you the ARV is. I wouldn't listen to anybody that says it only needs this many dollars in repair. I would definitely have a professional inspection done so that I would know. And then I would have, after I got the inspection, I would have a licensed and insured renovations person go out and look at it and give a hard number. And, unless you're experienced and know exactly what you're doing and you live in the city. So at the end of the day, if you're buying from out of state, you just have to be so very, very careful. Like 90% of the deals out there are not going to be deals for you. Maybe 70% of them won't be deals for a local investor, but if you're out of state, there's just an added warning for you. But anyway, these are two types of houses. So the first house, horrible looking house, so many repairs, unrealistic ARV. Don't buy that house. That's always going to lose you money, especially when you don't really know what the repairs are going to be in that house. And then this one is a little bit more deceptive, harder to figure out. The house looks pretty decent. Maybe the street scene on Google looks okay. This house will also lose you money. Such an old house is going to cost you more than you ever thought, and it's definitely not worth what they're asking for it. So these are the two types of houses that will always lose you money. For a real estate investor, you have to be savvy. You make your money on that buy, and I can promise you both of these are losers. I wouldn't even come close to them. So that's it. If you want to see another video about houses you should never buy that will always lose you money, watch this video right here.